Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guest here today, well, actually, I'm not even going to do the stupid promotion plug or whatever like that because I'm just really not feeling like doing that today. I'm feeling a little slutty today. I'll say that myself. So, I'm not going to do it. But we have Alexandra Miller on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from Pennsylvania, where hopefully it's better than it is here. But, we're not even going to get into that because I'm already depressed enough as it is. But yeah, she's getting ready for, what is it, your second show?
It's my second show. Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll talk to her all about that and all things health and fitness. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Alexandra, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is my first time on a podcast, so I'm excited.
Well, from what we talked about right before we started recording, I think you're going to be a natural at it. So, again, there have been some of those guests where I tell them, like, why don't you tell me about your journey? And this was literally the answer that I got. Well, I just really wanted to get in shape, so I started working out.
That's a lot of people's answer. I feel like people have, like, extreme answers and people have just, like, those kinds of answers.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's every gym bro's answer. That's why I don't have that many guys on the podcast, completely honest, because it's like, I just have that natural gym bro urge when I see another gym bro to be like, sup, bro, how much you lift? And that's it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So, it comes out more natural when I have females on. But just to get right into it, Alexandra, why don't you give us your story on what inspired and motivated you to get in shape and how it led to where you're at right now?
Sure. Well, it's not like super exciting or whatever, but
you've already said more words than that one person, so you're already longer.
That's good. So all my life I've been athletic. I've been a cheerleader and gymnast my entire life. I also played softball. So like naturally I've always been an athlete like my whole entire life. So I was always in shape. I always had muscle. And then I started going to the gym, lifting like every day. I started out at like Planet Fitness, and then I got to Powerhouse, which is like more of a bodybuilding gym. And that's where everything just kind of like sparked for me. You walk in, there's posters all over this show, and there's competitors all over the gym. So like, I'm like, okay, well, I've got asked before, do you compete? Like, you have great legs. That's always been like something I've been told. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try. So I literally went to a trainer there. I talked to her, got a coach, and that's where I'm at. So, I mean, I just wanted to give it a try to see how good I would be, because I know I feel like I have what it takes. I just need to, keep going. So.
Did you have any reservations at all about the sport? Because, like, unfortunately, the general public has so many beliefs about it that aren't true. Like, there's so many myths out there. Did you have any concerns at all, or were you just willing to dive right in and see what happens?
Well, I definitely know a lot more now than I did about it. There's actually a lot more that goes into it than I thought. But no, I didn't really have reservations. I mean, I don't know. Of course there's like that route of, where I'm going, like.
No Tostinos?
Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. No, I know. And that's something that a lot of people, struggle with. But I mean, there's even more stuff to that too. Like, people don't understand, first of all, how much you're going to eat too as well. Like, they don't. Right. And, good luck getting a full night's sleep without having to go to the bathroom about 15 times a night, too. That's another big one, too.
Exactly. I mean, there was no reservations. I was just like, let me do it, see how I do. I mean, I didn't do as good as I thought. My first show was my first show, so I didn't really expect to. But I don't know. I can put on muscle easily. So this show, I'm hoping to do a little better than I did.
And she's talking about using gorilla testosterone and deer tranquilizers, everyone, because that's the route that you got to go. Exactly. It's really big right now. I mean, unfortunately, you will get extremely hairy and start pounding your chest for no reason. But hey, I guess it's worth it. I literally had one guy ask me if that's a thing, and I said, if it was a thing, why would you want to take it? First of all, and some people these days. Anyway, that's my
people these days.
Well, the thing with some of these coaches is that they're so charismatic that they could convince their competitors to really take anything, honestly.
Oh, 100%. And people are at that. People are just like, I want to win. I'll take anything to look as big and sexy as, this pro, that pro, whatever. Yeah.
Well, that gets right into it, because genetics are a huge thing. And I've always said I could do whatever, the pro men do. I could work out just like them, have their supplements, do their cardio, do everything. I'm not going to end up looking like them, because it's just genetically not there. But whenever someone first gets started working out, they always have that one body part that really, really takes off, that they don't have to train as much.
Yeah.
And they have that one body part that just has to drag behind it. They have to train to oblivion.
Yeah.
What's one body part that took off for you, and one body part that you've just had to drag behind?
My quads and my hamstrings were always something that was very strong and I build muscle super easy there. My glutes, on the other hand, they're coming in, but I was always quad dominant, so it made it look like I didn't have, these nice glutes because my quads were so big. So like right now, we're really focusing on the glutes. So glutes and quads.
Legs for me by far, yeah, were the most. I
Yeah.
mean, I still could do to this day. I could do whatever I wanted with legs, and it's a never-ending story. Back for me was one thing that really, really took off. But yeah, I just love asking that because so many people have so many different. You're the first person. You might be the first or the second that like their leg was both their positive and their negative.
Yeah.
Basically, most people,
Right.
it's weird. So how do you deal with that? Because it's like when you are training legs, unfortunately, some movements that you do, you train the entire part of the leg, basically.
Exactly. So it's tough. And like, especially with my division, it's wellness. So you have to have the glutes and the legs. So, really just directly focusing on the glutes is, it's a few times a week. Not focusing on like all the leg, but just literally the glutes. So that's been helping actually. They have came a long way in a short amount of time. So I have hope.
Did you always want to do wellness, or was it something where you just realized, oh, I'm too big for bikini, or I'm too little for figure? How'd you come into wellness?
Um, you know what? Yeah, it was more about like, well, I wanted to be bikini or wellness, and I originally was going to do bikini, but I would have had to lose a lot of weight and like really lean. And those girls are slim. Where my legs are more, I don't know, wider. So like it just was a better route for me to go to wellness and just keep building. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much why I just have too much muscle to do bikini. I guess
That's a
I could
good
do.
problem to have, honestly. Like,
Yeah, I know. I do. I love having the muscle that I have. I could probably do figure. I just never had the lats and like that upper body look, I feel like. So that's and I don't really like I like how wellness is like very feminine and sexy.
well, and good luck with the flaring of the lats pose because I've talked to people where it takes them years to be able to finally do that. It's
Oh my
just
God, it's so hard. Like I tried. I look jacked or not jacked. Like
yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, I've seen people in my gym try to do it, and I don't laugh, but it's my hardest not to laugh moment that I've ever had in my entire life. Where I'm just like, okay, so I almost want to go up to him because a buddy of mine did the thing where like if you just put a finger like right in between the blades back there, it apparently like really helps with the balance to like
okay.
get him. But I was like, I'm not that creepy guy. Just gonna walk up to someone behind him, just be like, hey, how's it going? So no, but
Oh my god.
that's a tip that I've learned. I guess over again, I'm never gonna have to do a lat spread, or I'm never gonna have to do a relaxed lat in my entire life. So I am blessed with that. But we talked about this before. Probably the hardest thing of this lifestyle for so many people is the nutrition. What was that like for you adjusting your nutrition? Just realizing what you're gonna have to do nutrition wise to be a competitive bodybuilder.
So I always ate really well. Like my meals were always healthy, so like the meal part wasn't a problem. But I am a snacker. Oh my god, it's so bad. Like late night, or if I'm just sitting around, I'm snacking. Like that's literally what I do. So that was literally the hardest part was just like cutting out the snacking. Not really the meal part because like I said, I ate rice before, veggies, chicken, all that. Um, but yeah, it's the snacking that was super hard and it's still super hard. And so I do my icebreakers and things like that right now. But yeah, it's still freaking hard.
I have heard that gum helps. Was there anything else that you did? Because I unfortunately suffer through that as well, where I might get up at like 1 a.m. and just like go down. For me, I might just get like just a tiny slice of bread, basically like of just grain bread, and that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Same here. And like it's weird because my dad always does that. He'll wake up like mid sleep and go downstairs, get a snack, and go back to sleep. And I'm the exact same way. Um, but yeah, so sugar free Jello. I don't do often. My coach never told me to do it, but I know a lot of people who or do it during prep. Um, sugar free popsicles, like 15 calories a popsicle. And then I always do sugar free gum and icebreakers, which I'm not supposed to, but once like I do like one a day, one piece of gum a day or two. Yeah. I have to. I feel like I have to.
I mean, as long as you're not like some of the wrestling buddies that I had, where literally they would just freeze water and they just have like a water popsicle, and that's what they would enjoy. And I said that's the most pathetic yet inspiring thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So
That is though. Like
yeah.
I always think of like I always try to think of hacks or ways to like make something that has like no calories in it. So, yeah, if you have anyone that knows anything.
Like they did it with like diet. They did it with diet pop. Why can't they do it with like any other thing? Really, like
Right.
give me like some diet bread or some diet
That's
carbs
what
or something like that. Yeah.
literally all the time. I'm like, there's no what was I looking at? I think it or yeah, I was like, no, they have to come out with like no calorie popsicles. I mean, they come out with, no calorie, like you said, diet soda and stuff. Like I feel like they could come out with a bunch of other stuff, but whatever.
You see the regional differences, everyone. We call it pop here, they call it soda over there. When I was visiting the East Coast, I found that out the hard way. When I was at a restaurant and they were like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll have a pop." And then they were like, "What?" And then that went around for about 4 more times before I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a little different thing there." So I think I was in the Bronx when that happened. So yeah, I learned that. Yeah, I guess it's soda over there. But when it comes to your bodybuilding journey, I mean, this is so much more of a mental sport than it is a physical sport. So many people do not understand that. What has this journey been like for you mentally?
Ugh, it's been hard, honestly. Like it's just not easy for me because I love food so much. The training part is easy for me. I can get up, do my cardio, train hard. Like I've never had a problem with that. It's literally the food, which I don't have a problem with it because I have to stay on track or I'm not going to do good. But mentally, it kills me. I'm like always thinking about food, like always thinking about food.
Please don't tell me you're one of those freaks that watches like the Food Network.
I do, yeah. And I'm always saving because well. So my show's in May, so I have the whole summer to just like do whatever I want, which I'm so excited about. So I always go on and I save like recipes or drinks I like to drink, on the weekends. So I've been saving like cocktails and meals.
What is your favorite food that you're looking forward to having the most in the summer?
Oh my god, that's so hard. I love Italian hoagies. Like all sub sandwiches, like those are like my thing. And sushi. That's not really bad though.
When I eat something that has to be cooked, I had a friend of mine, she took me out and she said, you're going to try sushi. And then she said, well, you haven't even tried it. You don't know what you're going to like or not. And she said, well, what do you like? And I was like, chicken's fine. Then, yeah, let's get them tuna because it's the chicken of the sea.
Yes.
I threw up. I
Was
went
it
to the bathroom and threw up. It must have been. I don't know what it was. I mean, they didn't cook it. So for my whole thing, it's like, yeah, if I'm going to eat something, unless it's like a fruit or vegetable, you got to cook it.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like cooked sushi better than raw, but I'll eat raw. Yeah.
And then they wrap it up in that green thing. It's like a kale or whatever it is. It's like a
It's
weed basically. Yeah, like the seaweed. It's like I don't want to eat seaweed. First of all, it's like I could go to a lake if I wanted to do that.
yeah,
Then, but so yeah, that's my little sushi rant there. But
either love it or hate it.
absolutely. And what was your friends and family's reaction like when you announced them like, hey, I want to give bodybuilding a try? It's not something that a lot of young women tell their parents and friends.
Um, at first, my dad was always supportive of it. I feel like he's the one with like the genetics and the muscle, so like I think I got that from his side. So he's all for it. He thinks it's really cool. My mom is also all for it, but in the beginning she's like, are you getting too skinny? I think you're getting too skinny. Like you need to eat more. And I'm like, that's not how this works. It's temporary. I kind of I had to explain everything to her and how it worked, because she thought it was just so unhealthy. But now she totally understands now, and she knows that I can't go out and get food with her, and they're all very supportive, 100%. Yeah.
Please tell me you were thinking of at least like when you're in that last stage skeleton face of walking up to her and being like, I'm going to look this way forever. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, yeah, those are freaking rough. Peak week is hard.
How do you deal with that mentally? Because I mean, I've talked about this before, but like the mental strength is so important, but how are you dealing with those last few days? Because to me, that is probably the most impressive part of the entire journey is that like you said, like that last week where you just must feel like absolute crap.
Yeah. Oh no, I do. It's like extremely tired, extremely moody. I get very moody. At least I did my last prep.
Please tell me that you warned your friends like not to text you during that last week then, or like not to contact you then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. It's more like I'm with my boyfriend a lot, so he gets it all, which He knows though. He competes too, so he
The
knows how.
unsung heroes of this podcast are the significant others, and it's even better if they compete as well because, like, yeah, they got to put up with all that crap and everything like that. Is he your videographer too in the gym?
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
Yeah. Or no, sorry. No, I have someone named Jonathan who does like the professional looking kind of videos, and then like, but like my boyfriend will record me like if it's just random. But yeah,
No, that is great. So, have you and your boyfriend ever prepped together? That's the $1,000,000 question.
we have not. So we were supposed to do this May show together, but he wanted more time to get bigger, so he's doing the August show, which. So now I'm gonna have the whole summer to do what I want, but he's gonna be prepping the whole summer. So it definitely sucks.
Has he been taunting you at all with food?
He likes to eat, so he'll eat right in front of me, and I'll be like, "Can I have a little bite?" And he'll be like, "No." Like he's very good with like, "You can't have that. You can't have that." You know? Yeah.
Please tell me you've used that female brain of yours to remember all the times that he's done that. So then when he's doing his prep, you just unleash a fury on him.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. No, he's really good with
Yeah.
everything. I'm really happy I have him. Yeah.
I could never do that during like the 4th of July though, especially being on
I
prep for then. Yeah.
agree because my family does a huge party, and last time my boyfriend was prepping over it, and I wasn't. So I agree though. 4th of July is huge.
Yeah. I could never. Well, even Memorial Day alone, like my family, we always grill out and do all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just, yeah, I couldn't imagine. And what was that like the first time that you looked at your food bill and knowing that you're going to have that though, especially in your off season? Because that was the biggest shock for me when I went on that little prep of mine. And that's
Yeah.
another reason why I went off too, because I was like, okay, this is a lot of money.
Oh, it's a lot of money, and it's like it is a lot of money. Like I'm constantly getting chicken like almost every week. It's just like, yeah, it is a lot of money, but like a lot of like I don't know. I tell myself that like this is a good healthy habit, so it's like to me it's like worth it spending money on healthy food, um, and things like that. But like the classes to get into the show and everything that's super expensive as well, which is pretty crazy. But
I've always wanted to find out like how much money bodybuilders locally contribute to the economy food wise, because it must be a
oh my god,
pretty decent amount.
yeah,
Like the grocery stores must love the bodybuilders because then they're like, oh yeah, they're just buying all this chicken from us and all that stuff. Because yeah, it is like again, like we talked about so many little things in this sport, but one of the biggest things that I've heard is the hardest thing when it comes to especially your prep, but maybe just this lifestyle in general is posing. It's never talked about as much as it should be. We get that reaction almost every single time that I even bring up the P word. And I mean, a lot of times it's harder than the nutrition, it's harder than the working out. What has your experience with posing been like?
oh my god. I think literally right now is I am confident as ever in posing, and that took. I mean, I did a show last year, and looking back, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, I just did not look good. I mean, it was my first show, so whatever. But it takes a long time to like get comfortable and really know every specific little thing you have to do, like with your hands, with your hips, with your chest, with your shoulders. So I'm at a place where I can say I'm very confident in my posing and I feel very good. But that took a long time. A long time. Yeah.
Well, the first time I even remember just even doing like a front double by, it's like, no, you're not just flexing your arms. You're flexing
Right.
your chest, you're flexing your legs, you're flexing your stomach. I mean, it's people don't understand that. They think it's just, oh, you just hit these poses and everything like that and you're fine. It's like, well, when you hit this pose, you got to be flexing everything and have the right angle and stuff. And yeah, just the fact that the human body is not meant to be in that flexive a state for that long a period of time, first of all, is
I know. That's the hardest part is like holding it. I was shaking at my last show just because you have to hold it for so long and it's super uncomfortable.
are you just on pure adrenaline when you walk on that stage? Because like you're at your weakest and you have to sometimes hold that pose for such a long period of time.
Yeah, I'd say. Definitely. That's really the only thing. I mean, it's just but it's super tough. Like but it's like you have no choice. You have to hold it or you lose points or, this and that. So it's like, yeah, I
Well, at least you're
don't
not
know.
one of those fitness psychopaths who have to do like a whole routine and do like one arm push ups and stuff like that when they're all dieted down. And I'm just,
Like I know, like I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like the fitness category. Like I was at the Arnold and I saw like I mean, they're posing, they're flipping, I'm just like, how do you do all of this? Like it was just nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy when you really just get down to everything, and I've had probably a few dozen of them on, and it's always a fascinating conversation to have. But I mean, as you are getting, like you said, what are you 3 weeks away? 3 weeks out now? Yeah, sorry,
5,
5 weeks
5
out.
weeks.
Okay, good.
Yep.
5. Okay, I must have been thinking about something else. Everyone, this has been a long day for me. So we got 5 weeks out for her. So what is your cardio like right now? Because that is the bane of my entire existence. And just hearing that word, my back, just a little hair came up on my back, basically, just
Yeah.
nervous.
Cardio is hard too, because I'm not one that can. I'm very like, if I do cardio, I'm doing like 10 minutes on the bike, 10 minutes on the stairs, 10 minutes on the treadmill. Like it's hard for me to like do one thing for like 45 minutes. But he has me doing 45 minutes of fasted cardio and then 15 minutes after a workout. Yeah, which obviously the morning sucks.
That's not too bad. I mean, I talked to someone like last week who's doing like 2.5 hours, and that gets to a certain point where yeah, that's just yeah. I mean, I just go for walks normally, so it's not like I don't. I mean, I might go for like an hour and a half walk or whatever, but it's just I could never imagine having to do that much stuff, and it's just again one of the very little things. And have you taken anything from your first show, or like what is an area that you think you need to improve on in your first show, and have you worked on it hopefully for your second show?
Yeah, I think the leanness, just like in general, I mean, that's why you have to like really, really follow everything. No bites, no cheating, no, unless your coach tells you, because you will not like show up as lean as you can get. And I think last prep I did good, but there were a few moments where I kind of you know maybe shouldn't have had a bite of that or whatever. So I learned from that, and hopefully I come in more leaner. But just like in general, being lean, it's like the hardest part. I feel like.
I could imagine. Is it maybe hard when you're at that stage in your prep where like not everything has really come together? Like you said, you got 5 weeks, and like in those last 5 weeks, you'll probably see the majority of the changes that you'll end up seeing. Is that hard when you've put in all this effort up to this point and you might not have seen all the changes that you were expecting? Because some people, I don't get how they're able to have a positive mindset when some of the people I've talked to, like literally that last week is when most of the changes happen. And if I put that much effort into it and I didn't see like all the change, yeah, like you might see something to start, but
Yeah.
like to not be able to see all that, how do you deal with that mentally?
Oh my god, that is actually a good point. That's really hard to deal with, because like I feel like now I should be looking more lean, and I'm feeling like that at least. And but I keep hearing weeks 3 and 4 is when you start to really notice those drastic changes. So it's really just a waiting game at this point. Yeah, you just have to be patient and see what happens. But it is like I'm extremely impatient. Like you're right. Like it's like you put in all this work, you're barely eating, and it's like, why am I not lean and shredded right now? As shredded as yeah.
And I'm
So.
an overthinker too, so that's just a recipe for disaster myself.
Oh, me
So,
too.
well, yeah, you're a bodybuilder. I mean, that's what I figured. That's why my personality is a little bit similar. Is that you got to be kind of a little bit type A, and you got to have a little bit of an obsessive personality, because
Right.
who in their right mind is getting up at 4 a.m. like some of the guests I have on to do their cardio? Like that's
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
Do you ever sometimes like think to yourself like, why am I doing this? And like, how do you get yourself out of that? Because everyone goes through that, but especially when you're in the depths of prep, or just even in your off season as well. I mean, that's one thing that I think differentiates the bodybuilding from the general public, is that bodybuilders find a way to get through it, while the general public, they'll find an excuse.
Right. Yeah. Um, I think it's really just like I mean, you're not in this for forever. It's like you do a show and then you're basically free. So like that's like my like motivation. Like I know that I'm competing in May, and then I have the whole summer to do whatever I want. Like I can suck it up. I can do it. And plus obviously I want to win. So that's like obviously motivates me a lot. But it's hard. It's every day is hard. I wake up and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like I want to eat what I want to eat. But then the other parts of me like, no, like you have potential, like do it. Shut up.
Do you ever have a hard time not viewing your competition on Instagram and like looking at updates for them? Because luckily I grew up in a time where like with baseball, like we didn't have everyone like posting their highlight reels on, Instagram and stuff like that. So I didn't have that, but I couldn't imagine how frustrating it would be, because obviously you can filter stuff. I'm not saying people filter stuff, but like you can, with angles, you can make people look a lot better. Like I would be freaking out if I saw some of my competitions. I was like, wait, they look like that and they're 5 weeks out. So
I know. I was really bad with that last prep. I was constantly like, who's going to be in the show? Like constantly comparing, looking at their Instagrams. Now I'm not really doing that as much. I haven't even seen anyone. I don't think that's I'm gonna be compete or maybe like 2 people, but like it's not. I don't know. Last year was really bad. This year it's not. But social media literally ruins everything. Like I know a lot of people who have to delete theirs until they're done competing because they just can't handle the like comparing themselves to other people.
If it wasn't for this podcast, I honestly think I would be off most of social media. I might just have like an account just like with friends, like if just to check in on them, really, just like a Facebook or something. But yeah, like the more I've gotten into this, and now, especially now that they have that chat, that AI chat on Snapchat. Have
Yeah.
you tried that yet?
I don't have Snapchat. I hate Snapchat.
Okay, they just had it for Snapchat where you can ask it like all these questions, and it's really really weird. So
Yeah, no, shit's getting weird. I only have Facebook and Instagram. I don't have TikTok, Snapchat. It's just like I can't with this stupid. I
I
just
got a
can't.
TikTok just to follow some of the guests that I've had on, just to like make sure that like they're not pulling their hair out and going crazy. Because like if I invite them to come back on, I don't want them to give me like dead lizard conspiracy theories or something like that. Like if I, come on, I'm just making sure that they're sane mentally. Really, that's basically all that is. But because trust me, that's my history podcast. We're going to talk about the history of the lizard people and their plans to overtake everything, which you're just wait, everyone. But off that, because I don't want to give away too much information. I am a part of the group myself. But when it comes to that show day, what is your favorite part about show day, and what is your least favorite part about show day?
My least favorite part are the nerves. I get so nervous. Like I'm just that's how I get though, like even with public speaking and like well, I used to get like that. But like just the nerves like drive me crazy. I'm like, am I gonna mess up? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do that? So I'm gonna try to do better, this time and not overthink everything. The best part is probably just getting ready. It's fun to just get glamored up and dress in, the cute bikinis. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part.
That was honestly my favorite part of all of sports, and I know a lot of people agree with that. Is not the locker room talk, but just like being in a locker with the guys and just like messing around, kind of like before the games and stuff like that, and doing all that. That's the favorite part of sports too. But yeah, I mean that the waiting would kill me too, because just
My God, it's hell.
especially when you got to try to keep your body as lean as possible for that next, like 2 hours that you might have in between shows or even longer.
It's yeah, and like this show that I'm doing, the schedule is like all the guys go first, and then it's the women. So like it is an all day thing where I'm like backstage or in the basement or whatever for just hours and hours and hours just waiting, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably another thing that I don't.
One thing that I observed when I went to the show that I went to is like, how are none of these people as dehydrated and maybe down as they are? How have them never passed out from that tan smell? Because that smell permeates all the way to the back row. So I was like, that would give me a headache if I dealt with
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
no, that's true. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Well, look at how pale I am. First of all, I'm about 10 coats easily with, I'm not even gonna try it because people are like, oh, you should probably try it and just like make a video of like you trying it on. I was like, no, because first of all, it would take forever, and second of all, like I don't know what I've always afraid that it would be like that Friends episode where Ross accidentally gets too much tan on and then like he just gets super. That's what I would end up being because I just don't know how to do it. So yeah, there is that. And I mean, like let's be honest, you're not the average looking woman.
Mhm.
Obviously, you can get covered up like you are right now, which really does help. Which is again another one of the few reasons to live in Minnesota during the winters, because if you are a competitor, you can just hide and no one has to
Right.
see it. But like if you were to walk out in public, like let's say dressed up like you're in the summertime, you're gonna get people's reactions just because whenever they see something, it's not the normal. It's always people's just instinct, just to And it's a instinct that people developed over time. When something's not
Yeah.
normal, they just they observe it. But what has that been like as you've gotten more and more attention? Maybe because most people are not used to it, and has it gotten easier for you, or is it still one of those things where you're like, okay, this is kind of weird?
Wait. Well, wait. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what's that been like getting all that maybe attention that you might get just because of the way that you look now, as opposed to maybe how it was maybe before? And again, I know most girls get attention just for the way that they look, regardless of if they're a bodybuilder or not. But what's that like to get maybe that extra attention just because you stand out so much more now?
Right. I think it's really good attention, and it honestly motivates me. If I'm at the gym, I'll have someone say, "Hey, you're doing really good. You look really good." It's usually the legs. Your legs look good, and like that encourages me because I know I'm working hard and I know I'm training and doing everything I have to do. So I don't know. I think I want to be an inspiration to people. So when people tell me that, I'm like, okay, like I'm inspiring them to, I don't know, train harder or train more, or I can get to where I want to be if I put in the work. So I don't know. I like it. I think it's nice when people notice changes, good changes in someone, and they they tell them because that's I don't know. That's really encouraging.
I would cut off one of my legs if someone gave me a compliment about legs. That's how much I've been waiting for that to say, "Oh, you got nice legs." It's never gonna happen. So I'll say, enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it
Yeah,
while because yeah, that
seriously.
is. Don't even get me started on calves. I can't even like I could do 10,000 calf raises a day, and they are the most genetic body part ever. We're, so like even before you got into like this lifestyle, were you always like blessed in the leg department?
Yes. Like ever since I was like little, like little, like I just always had shape to my legs. And cheerleading and gymnastics helped 100%. They like obviously. That's like yeah. And then so yeah. I've always had yeah.
I've done this so much where I can look at someone's competitor photos and I can tell like if they were a gymnast or a swimmer before they started bodybuilding because you can just tell because it's those muscle groups that are the most developed.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
yep.
If they have a nice back, you're like, okay, it's a pretty good chance that they were a swimmer or something like
Yeah.
that. And then with gymnastics, it's like, yeah, the whole entire lower body and usually abs too is just,
Yeah,
it's
and the
it's
broad
it's
shoulders.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You can totally tell.
Do you ever think about like how much more food your boyfriend gets to eat than you and ever get angry about that? Because that's
Yeah.
to me, yeah. See, I mean, it's like when
Mhm.
if I had someone that was that much bigger than me, like, and they got to eat much more, I would be pissed at him, low key, deep down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still gets cheat meals. So it's like I don't know, it's really aggravating. But I can't be like you can't eat, because of me. But yeah, no, I get
Well,
mad.
that's when you do your oh, I'm gonna go out to the garage for a second, and then you just wolf it down in the garage. Basically,
Right.
you lock the door and everything. That's what my grandpa used to do when he was still smoking cigarettes. Yeah, I'm gonna go out to the garage for a couple minutes, and then oh yeah,
Yeah.
grandpa's going out for a cigarette. So yeah, yeah.
It kinda does get to that point where, like, I'd rather him I can't be in front of him because I will ask for a bite because I don't have self-control sometimes. I just don't. Like, it's crazy.
I had the meanest thought ever when I was at that show where I was at was like, what if I just brought in like 10 dozen pizzas and just opened them right in front of the stage? It's like when they're walking out, they got to smell them. I'm not that evil of a person, so I could never do that. But I was like, if someone did that, that would be you're a demon. But I also would think that that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. So yeah,
That's
there's I
so
mean,
fucked. Yeah.
oh, that's horrible. I mean,
Funny.
that is life in prison for my honestly that's what you should get if you do something like that cruel to people's psyche. But I mean, again, we got to be completely totally honest, body dysmorphia is a huge thing that impacts this sport.
100%.
I find it funny at times, and I'm not gonna lie, just because I talk to some of the most in shape people on the planet, and then they'll message me saying like, do you think I look ready for a show? And then I just want to respond to them, look in a damn mirror, you are a bleeping idiot. But I know deep down like why they're saying that, but like
Right,
for the general public, it just seems so foreign to people. They're like, wait, the people that are in the best shape or
right.
experience probably even more body dysmorphia. Is it easier for you, or do you still think suffer as much as you do? Because I know I've talked to people who have done this for decades, and they still have that same level of body dysmorphia that they had when they got started.
It's fucking yeah, no, it's been hard for me. I mean, it never really was until I started doing this because it's like, you see yourself at your leanest, obviously, I feel like everybody says this, and it's true. Your leanest, your cuttest, everything. And then your off season, where, like, your weight goes, how you look when you put more food in, at least I do. So it's like, it's really mental, like, you have to know that, like I don't know, you have to be okay with, like, how your body looks in off season. It's, like, hard to explain, I don't even know what I'm saying, but, like
I will always say though, the most depressing thing you can ever hear is in your off season, and people come walk up to you and say, "Oh, so you gave up becoming a bodybuilder or being a bodybuilder?"
yeah, that's fucked up, because then people just don't understand the sport then, because like, you have to grow and put on weight in order to obviously build muscle, lean out, look better. So, yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I've
Um,
also always said if you want to insult a bodybuilder, this is the best insult you can ever do. You wait when they're in the gym, when they're doing a rep or something like that. You just walk up right behind them. Again, don't touch them, everyone, but you like get right behind their ear and you just whisper, "Looking a little small today," and then you turn and walk away without saying anything else. You just
that's
turn
the
and
worst.
walk away. Yeah,
Oh my god, for a guy, that's, like, the worst thing someone can
that
say.
is the most hateful. Yeah, that is a hate crime in my opinion, or that should be like
It
a yeah. That is. Like I've never used it myself, but like if I ever get that angry with someone, if anyone ever makes me that's my nuclear bomb that I explode at the end.
That honestly, that's a really good one. It's fucked up, but like it's like simple,
If your boyfriend ever
subtle.
pisses you off, that's what you can do. I'm giving you ammo right now.
Oh, he'd be like, "Yeah, okay, shut up."
No, but yeah,
Um,
that's. I mean, yeah, the mentality of the. So, how do you try to maintain somewhat of a semblance of organization when it comes to adjusting to the fact that like you're not going to look like you're looking on stage forever.
um, well, I definitely so after my show, I did you have to reverse diet or else you're gonna gain a crazy amount of weight. Like my boyfriend gained, I think, 40 pounds right after a show because he didn't properly diet after. So honestly, I just keep telling myself, my coach gives me like a couple days to just let loose after my show, do whatever, and then I go right on a reverse diet, and then I just eat more of what I eat on prep. So like it's like now in me, it's like I know how to get fat and I know like what will make me fat. So it's like now it's like I just I can't do those things as much. So it's like really have to control what I eat and what I do and so I don't like have crazy body dysmorphia or like go into a crazy rut where I'm like, I'm fat, I can't get out of this. So it's like I don't know how to explain it really. It's a lot of just like control and like you know what I'm saying? If I'm not making
Well,
sense. So.
I'm gonna mess up your mind even more now because this is a question that I literally just came up with. If there was one drink and one food that you could literally turn into a 0 calorie thing, what would your drink be and what would your food be?
Alcohol. They need
What kind of alcohol though? We can get even more
vodka.
specific.
I love vodka. I wish that they would come out. I don't even know if that's possible. I feel like maybe it could be, but probably not. I don't know. 0 calorie vodka, honestly. But then I think about it and I'm like, if I drank that over prep, that would just make me hungrier because I'd be drunk. But so definitely alcohol though, or vodka. And then a 0 calorie food, some kind of chip because I like to crunch. I like to snack, like I said. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with milkshake for my drink.
Oh fuck.
I,
Well, you could do like a protein. You could try to make like a protein milkshake.
Nothing's as good as like an actual milkshake
Oh no, it's
though.
not. It
Like
won't.
if like and I'm adding the whipped cream 0 calorie too. I know that's a little bit cheating, but it's got to be a part of that too. But then for food, probably just a burger. And when I say burger, I mean like the bun, the meat, and everything. But like
Oh,
everyone knows, like I mean, or pizza. Either way, I'll go with that. As well. But yeah, that's alcohol too. But have you ever? So like, what is your tolerance level for alcohol? Like the first time you drink it after going on prep, because it must just be absolutely horrible.
It actually wasn't bad.
Okay.
I have a high tolerance with alcohol. I don't know if it's because I drank a lot in
She's
college.
an alcoholic.
Or so I mean, I don't know. I'm going to Florida right after my show, so it might get a little crazy. I'm gonna be drinking a lot. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Last prep I drank right after or last show, and I was.
What part of Florida are you going to? I've been to Vero Beach.
We are gonna be in Clearwater,
Clearwater.
like by Tampa. Yeah.
The one thing that shocked me the most about Florida is like all those little geckos that they got running around. They're like the Midwest version of squirrels, basically. They're like just those little tiny geckos.
Isn't it weird? I've been to Florida only once, so this is my second time going. But
And I saw an alligator in person, which I never thought I'd see other than a zoo.
Forgot about those for a second.
Yeah, they just walk around. People are just like, yeah, there's an alligator out there. Just make sure your dog's on a leash. Yeah.
Are they everywhere? Like every part of Florida?
Well, no, we were at a baseball complex because it was in high school, my junior year, we did a spring trip where we went to Florida for like right before the season starts, where we play a few like non-games that don't count down there and just work out a little bit. But at the camp, there was a tiny moat. Like I'm talking probably about maybe 50 feet long and like probably like 20 feet wide. And we were leaving it one night at like 10 o'clock after we got done with our last game. And yeah, there was one just sitting there in the moat.
Oh God.
It wasn't a big one. I mean, it's probably like 10 feet long, but it was still like,
It's still an alligator.
yeah, it's still a freaking alligator. And like, if you get too close to it, that bite power could literally rip you in half without even, breaking a sweat. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. But yeah, we used to play the thing where like those sand crabs that you can get on the beach that are like the really tiny things, we would capture them and then we would put them in people's pillowcases. Or like on top of their pillowcase, so when they'd open up and go to sleep. So, yeah, another little fun story there from the road. But let's be honest, the way that health and fitness is going right now, like I'm embarrassed to be an American at times because like just how obese people are getting. And I know that there's excuses and I know there's reasons, but like go to any public place right now. And this is for anyone listening to this podcast, go to any public place and try to like not see an absurd amount of people that have just given up on their lives basically. But what advice do you have for people looking to just get started? Because I feel everybody that is like in that boat wants to get better. They just either don't know how or they just lack the motivation, honestly.
Oh my God. I say cut the sugar. Like, honestly, I feel like, because a lot of people, I feel like, I don't know what's harder for people, like obese people. Like, is it harder to train or is it harder to, I guess it's harder to eat less, right? Um, I don't know. Or I would say just fucking get out and just walk 30 minutes a day, 40 minutes a day. And cut sugar and maybe some carbs. That's my advice. Just get up and move, you got like move so you're burning off some of what
Yeah.
you put in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I normally don't talk about this, but I wanted to because you seem like pretty open stuff about like how creepy some DMs can be, especially when you get to like this level in the industry. How have you dealt with that? Because like I get some myself. Like I even got a FaceTime call from a guy an hour before I talked to you. I didn't answer it because it's like who FaceTimes me, just a random number, and then an email saying like you talk to all these women. I want to know like how I can talk to them. So send me their info so I can like talk to them
God,
and stuff.
weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll Snapchat the thing for you, or I'll take a photo and send it to you because it is crazy. How do you deal with that? Because there have been times where I think about these women that have on. It's like, how the hell do they still have Instagram accounts? Because like I would shut everything. I would burn my laptop, just go live in a wood area somewhere and never talk to anyone ever again.
It's so, I mean, I actually don't get a lot. If I do get some, or I pretty much get like normal people that just like are asking me questions, and that's like fine. But then like sometimes, yeah, I'll get like OnlyFans. Do you want to do OnlyFans or Sugar Daddy? Gotten those before. I literally just press delete because like what the fuck?
I made an OnlyFans just to troll people where I literally just posted like behind the scenes stuff. And like if people had a gym, they would tour the gym for me. And I made like a pretty decent amount of money doing that. So like I troll, I don't do it.
Oh,
Now I make only like $40 a month doing that now because people realize that it's like a kind of a scam and I'm not
yeah.
going to, because like obviously, first of all, it's like, do you, like people ask me all the time, it's like, do you have any nudes of the people you have on? I was like, yep, that's what I asked them when I'm
Oh
done having
my
the podcast.
God.
It's like, yeah, let's do some. So it's like, what do you, first of all, who do you think like,
People are twisted.
yeah.
Like,
And I've interviewed
twisted.
60 and 70-year-olds on this podcast too. So what do you think I'm just yeah, okay, everyone drop it. we're
Yeah,
done
like,
recording now. Let's get some footage now for the
hell, like
gram.
that's desperate at its fucking
Yeah.
finest.
And people have accused me of like, we know the only reason you do this is so that you can talk to these people. And I was like, well, A, you're kind of right. And B, I could talk to really anyone because like I have other podcasts that like I
Yeah,
try to not get into it with people. But then there's a night like last night where I just get so pissed where I just finally have to unload on a few unfortunate souls that happen to be the person
yeah.
that then triggers it that time. But yeah, it is this world. It gets like, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty non-observant when it came to being a man, just like on what women in general deal with when it comes to just creepy guys. But this has
Mm,
opened my eyes to such an extreme where I'm just like, more
I
power to you.
know.
Yeah,
It's like men cannot control themselves. It's sick.
I'm just gonna say most people from some of these
Men.
countries, far away too, where they like don't even know how to talk to a woman in the first place, and then they're like, dude, I had one guy offer me his sister from India.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
Nuh-uh.
I'm not joking. And I said, first of all, I would never go to India, or I might actually go to India if it's the nice part of India. But second of all,
Get the fuck out. No wonder why we have trust issues.
I'm starting to get female trust issues myself. So I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, dude, what the, dude, I just cannot,
Bad.
I don't understand some people, and it's just, yeah, it's
And the nasty part is like a lot of people probably have wives and kids and are just like being disgusting.
okay.
You know what I mean?
I was normally never going to mention this, but I've had two separate occasions where people write fantasy role plays and they gave them to me, where it was like chapters long of what I would do to them. Yeah. One of
What?
them involved a barn, and the other one involved, I think it was a hospital, where I was their nurse, apparently, because I would be a good
What
nurse.
the? Is it a random woman account?
No, it's guys. One of them was a
Oh,
guy,
it's
and yeah, one of them was a guy, and then the other one I think was someone who's transitioning. I'm not even going to get into that whole debate, but anyway. So yeah,
yeah.
technically it was a woman, and then technically it was a guy too. So like, yeah, it's yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my god, I know. Like, honestly, it's so hard to, like, have social media. It really is. I wouldn't be having it if it wasn't for this. Well, I probably would, but not as
That's
on
why,
it as
like, I'm
much.
not gonna be honest. I'm not gonna do this forever. I mean, I got a few years left in me, but like, once I'm done with that, yeah, I am not going on Instagram again. I'll have a personal account just for, like I said, for like friends, like close friends and family, just to make sure that they're still alive. Every once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, they're still alive. Check it once a year, and just yep, so they're good.
Facebook is the only platform that's, like, I don't know, like, Instagram's creepy.
Old people ruin Facebook, though. Let's be honest.
They do,
Yeah,
but it's more of, like, a cleaner platform. Like,
I
you know
don't
what I
want
mean?
to see my aunt's vacation photos every 5 days.
I'd rather see that than some fucking girl getting implants and showing off her ass. Because 'cause let's be real, that's literally all of Instagram.
Have you ever been tempted with any of that stuff? Because I know with the bodybuilding, I mean, they make up like half those guys' businesses, the plastic surgery guys.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like, are you saying the girls get plastic surgery?
Well, guys do too, but I'm talking about just like bodybuilders in general. Like, so many of them have augmented themselves. So I'm
Oh my
saying, like,
god,
the amount
yeah,
of business that those plastic surgeons must get is just
right.
from them. Have you ever had any thoughts about that? Because I know, like, there's some women that just, especially when they're competing, they feel kind of forced to because they think that almost everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. Well, I know, for wellness, I feel like a lot of people do it in their glutes. Um,
Yeah,
I
most people just assume it's like boobs and stuff, but it's like, no, people get implants
yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere. It's, like, out of control nowadays. I've never thought about it, no. Now if I was rich, maybe.
Well, I'm a guy, so just being rich, that's the biggest
I
attractive that's the biggest attractive booster for a guy. So you know that just being rich. So you know that's
But, like, I wouldn't go out of control, like,
oh yeah.
I was like, money wasn't an issue with anything, maybe I'd get a little. I wouldn't go to the point of, like, ridiculous, like, you know?
I wouldn't do what that Ken Gall guy did where he wanted to look just like Ken the Barbie. So he got like bicep implants, tricep
Well,
implants, like arm
what
implants, and he got everything. And I'm like, it cost him like I think like $270,000 to get it all done. Yeah,
how does he even what does he even do? Like, that was weird. That was so weird.
I don't understand. Yeah, some people. I mean, I will say though, like I'm never gonna do it myself. But that one guy who like got his tongue cut in half down the middle, so
Oh,
it would look like a snake. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's like that's cool at least. Like that's like it's not
Yeah,
cool, but it's like you're at least you're doing something like that. But it's like
right.
yeah, you're not doing like fake implants and stuff. But then the other guy got his whole body tattooed like a snake. It's like
Yeah.
that's dedication at least. So you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I know, yeah.
it's like you'll have a hard time applying for a job. So you know, good luck with that. But you know,
Yeah, he's gonna work at a fucking zoo.
oh, absolutely. Well, he's gonna be the attraction right there. Then I mean, that's what the
Yeah, that help me.
it's funny when you think about like because I did a research on like the history of bodybuilding, and it's funny when you realize that like just literally like 100 years ago, bodybuilders were basically circus acts.
Really?
Where it's like look at the really strong man and stuff like that, and look at
Oh,
all this, and then
yeah,
like
no,
they'd have like the women that are like especially the female side, like they'd have like there's only like a handful of them that were like actually pretty freaking jacked, which is like I wonder what they were doing because like performance enhancing things weren't really kind of a thing in like the
right?
1910s. So it's like they must just be the most genetically best people. But like, yeah, there'd be circus performers like watch her lift a guy with one hand or something like that and do all that stuff. Yeah, it would just be
Yeah,
that's what
that's
they were
true.
originally. Yeah, it was just circus performers really, and then it evolved into a whole sport. But now we go to the final two questions that I ask every guest before we wrap things
Okay.
up here. The first question is if someone walked up to you and said, you know, Alexandra, we made the decision, you can change one thing about the sport of bodybuilding and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed? And if it's more than one, we can do more than one.
Okay. One, the wellness front pose. Um, I just don't like it. I feel like it doesn't. Now, maybe it's because my legs really aren't big enough. Like, I mean, these pros, their legs are fucking huge, so it looks good. But I have trouble with the front pose. Like, I just feel like my legs don't look big enough in it, and I just don't feel like it gives my best leg look. So it's like, I don't know. I wish they would just change that. I think before it was more of like a straight on angle. I actually like that before. I would change that, and I think that's it.
The money thing is obviously one thing that I would just do because it's like, obviously, like, you should be making money, honestly, if you're not even a pro, just because the amount of money that you have to spend at these
Mhm.
shows. This is not a lifestyle that you want to get into for money. Trust me. I've talked to hundreds of people. They've all confirmed, unless you're the Miss Olympia winner and you get that car
Right.
and you get like $500,000. Other than that, you know,
Exactly.
you're not going to see that. So obviously, I wish there'd be a little bit more of a stipend there too. And honestly, just I wish there'd be more regulations with stuff. And when it comes, especially to the judging too, because like one show they might want you to look a specific look, and then another show they might want you to look a little bit harder, a little bit softer. Just like
Right.
more basic deadline kind of thing.
Exactly. No, I agree. Like sometimes I'll look at like previous winners from shows and I'm like, well, she won, but she looks different from the girl that won before. And like sometimes I'm like, well, what exactly are you looking for? I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's everything, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with it 100%. And lastly, when we do have you on a year from now, because trust me, for your first podcast, you did great. You were a natural at it. I'd love to have you on again in a year. Where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding journey? Where would you like to just be at in your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved?
In a year, you said?
Yeah.
Um, I definitely. Well, my goal for this show is to place. I want to win. I want to be the overall winner. That's my goal. I think when it comes to bodybuilding, just grow, continue to grow, train hard, all that. Job wise, I work in an office right now. My goal is to get a remote job because fuck sitting in an office 8 to 5 all week. I just can't do it. Um, and yeah, hopefully my friends and my relationships are stronger than ever.
Yeah, with my ADD sitting at a desk, yeah, that would never work out for me. So I usually just work in warehouses and walk around and do all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, remote work. This podcast is basically remote work. Let's be honest, and it gets to a point where it does get boring after a while. But I have friends. Again, I'd much rather be bored at home than be bored at work. So
Exactly. And it's like, what can you do at work when you're bored? You just sit. You have to just sit there.
yeah.
Where at home you can get up and do laundry or, fucking go for a 10-minute walk.
I have a little brother who works in sales with a place, and he's in San Diego, and he has to only show up to work 1 day a week. Everything else is remote.
I would love to do that.
I
Like even
hate him.
yeah. My boyfriend, he has a good ass job and he works from home. He makes fucking bank. He has PTO. It's just so like the benefits are amazing.
Ask him if they have a chapter in Minnesota around where I live, and I will gladly apply to it then, because that is,
Okay.
yeah, that's ridiculous. But again, everyone, I mean, Alexandra, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and doing this. I really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing more about how you place and more stuff about you. And again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. It was a delight to talk to you.
Thank you so much. You'll see my Instagram posts and
Absolutely.
you'll see how I do in the show and everything. So
Absolutely. And everyone, go and give her a follow. Buyer beware. You will get inspired to get off that couch and stop eating all those Twinkies. Although, some Twinkies are worth eating. I will tell that. I will mail her tonight a video of me eating my Tostitos chips, because I do like to torture people with the cheese and everything. I'm actually just going to make it a story on my Instagram page, so you can check out the story on my Instagram, because I know that a lot of people are getting ready for shows, so anything that I can do to try to throw them off their game just for my enjoyment is, even better for me. But, hey, I take the time out of my life to interview them. They can at least suffer through some of my torturing of them with food. So it's a balancing act, really. So,
right. And we should be able to control ourselves. So
absolutely. I mean, I am afraid that one of them might like show up to my door and, knock it down and, force feed me all that stuff and be like, if you're really going to eat it right. It's kind of like the old thing where, like, if you ever got caught smoking, then your dad would be like, oh, you're going to smoke the whole pack now because you're a big boy and stuff. So,
right. Yeah,
you
exactly.
have that thing where they just stuff the whole bag down your throat. So again, please do not do that to me. But again, everyone, go and give her a follow. This is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.